just a quick video on how to install that little clip to the Bendix clip. So we'll just call it a clip. So once you get the side cover off, you'll have your starter mechanism exposed. So sometimes when the cover comes off, all this falls out, but it's no big deal. All we got to do is just get it out of there either way it goes. So not much to it. You just got the washer for the back, and then you have the shaft through the middle, and then the gear that goes to the starter, and then the Bendix gear and the spring, and the gear the Bendix gear rides on. So what we want to do is take all that apart, and then we got to get this clip off here. So just take a screwdriver or something, slip it in there, and just give it a little tug, and it'll pop off there. Boing. So there we go. So now we got that. When we install this, this is going to go in that groove. So what we got to do is make sure that we have it far enough this way that it doesn't drag on the side of the case, but far enough this way that it doesn't drag on the gear. So what we got to do is get that back on that gear. So we'll switch back over to the vise and do the reinstall. So what I want to do is just kind of measure. I can always move it around a little bit. So it looks like somewhere right in the middle. And so when we install it, we'll line that up and then we'll put it all back together. Alright, so now all we got to do is get our clip put onto our gear. And so to do that, what I'm going to do is slip that in and push that all the way over as far as I can get it. And then I just want to pinch my gear in the vise. So let's get something in there. And we're going to grab the sides of the gear with the clip already grabbed underneath it. And then we just take a screwdriver and hook up on top and pop it back up. So now we got our clip installed. And you can see in the video there's not a whole lot of room. What you don't want to have is the clip touching the gear. So we got to move it away just a little bit. And we got to make sure it clears the case so it can slide in and out. So where I got it right there is a little bit low. So all I'm going to do is just take a screwdriver and just move up on it a little bit. I'm just going to scoot it away from the gear just a little bit so it doesn't rub the top of the gear. Like that. Alright, so now we just go back over to the motor and we'll do our reassembly. Installing the mechanism, if you hadn't ever done it, seems like it's a bit complicated, but if you do it in a certain sequence, it's not too bad. So you start with your little bumper washer that goes in the back. Just go ahead and put that on the shaft. Take this gear, put it on the shaft, bring them back up behind the flywheel and put those on. Okay, so then next is the Bendix gear. He goes on and he'll be loose. So here's our little clip. So it'll slide on, and just put it so that the clip tang is in there, and then we're going to check things once we put it all together. Next is the spring and the internal. So this is really the only hard part, fidgeting around, is trying to get those to line up, get the teeth to index, but you can get it after playing for a second. So those are indexed, and then now you just have to slide it on the back. So there you go, pretty simple. So we got everything together. Now what we want to check is make sure that number one, that's not touching the gear, and then number two, it's not touching the case. So as we slide out, you can check that and just make sure that it's clearing the case and it's also clearing the gear. And if you need to, you can push it all back in there, and if it needs to go one way or the other, you can just push it a little bit and it'll move. So we got her lined up, and then that should give us a little more resistance on this. I'll take it back apart, just pull that back out. That should give us a little more resistance on this and prevent that from spinning as bad, because now it's got some resistance against it with that clip clipped. Well, alrighty. Well, thanks for watching.